Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to take the next step in the financial process because we, in the last video, talked about setting goals. In this video, we're going to talk about achieving our plans. And I want to walk you through a process that I think is vitally important to make sure that you're doing the right things in the right order, okay? So let's jump into that and lay these things out. The number one thing that we want to do is we want to get a $1,000 emergency fund established just as quickly as we possibly can. Now, many people will say, well, why do we want to do that? The vast majority of people today are going to be in financial difficulty if they incur an expense, an emergency expense in their home that is $1,000 or more. Now, stop and think about that. I mean, $1,000 is not a lot of money, but if you have to take your car to the garage, a lot of times it's going to cost you between $500 and $1,000. If you have a major appliance failure, we just had to replace our refrigerator about 6 months ago. That was $1,200. I just had to buy another dishwasher as we're remodeling our kitchen. The dishwasher is $1,100. So having $1,000 set aside just as a little bit of a buffer to be able to help you absorb things without having to drag out the credit card and add to the debt that you have is really, really important. The second thing that we have already sort of done in the assessing of our finances is to look at the type of debt that we have. So we've got our mortgage, we've got our car payments, we've got various types of credit card debt, maybe we have student loans, but we looked at what kind of debt it is, how much do we owe, what are our monthly payments that we've been making, if any, and what kind of interest rate that we're paying. So we need to start paying off that debt, but we want to do it in a prioritized way. And how we do that, from my perspective, depends on the type of personality you are and how you are emotionally approaching this. There are two ways to begin paying off debt. One, if you're really trying to build some confidence and you're not sure about your abilities to be able to do this successfully, is to take the smallest debt that you have and pay it off. Pay it off as quickly as you possibly can. Okay? And the reason for that is it helps you build self-confidence. It begins building momentum. If you already have some momentum and some self-confidence, then you want to approach the debt from the standpoint of what's the largest debt that I have with the highest interest rate, and I want to pay that one off first. And then go to the next one and the next one and the next one. But basically what you want to do is you want to stair-step your way through paying off your debt. And then once you've got your debt paid off, you want to build at least 6 months, and I sometimes recommend 8 months of living expenses, because we have things like a pandemic that hits and people aren't prepared for it because they don't have a lot of savings. So if something happens, let's say that you were a restaurant worker or some sort of service industry worker, a pandemic hits and you lose your job. My question is how quickly do you get into a panic? I mean, statistically speaking, 2/3 of the people in the United States are less than 90 days away from facing bankruptcy if they lose their primary source of income. But if you have 6 to 8 months worth of living expenses, you've got some breathing room, and you want to have that. It's vitally important for you to have that. And once you have that 6 months worth of living expenses in place, then we can begin setting money aside for investments. And the things that you want to look first for are things like your 401ks. What kind of match and stuff is your employer giving you? And at least contribute that much in order to be able to get the match, because that's free money, baby, so take advantage of it. Making sure that you're funding IRAs, and I highly recommend funding a Roth IRA. The whole idea behind a Roth IRA is that you're paying it with post-tax money. It's money you've already paid tax on, so it grows interest-free So when you retire and you start taking it out, not only the principal that you put in if you're already paid tax on, but all of the growth that it's experienced is untaxable. It's not taxable. So you get that money free as compared to a standard IRA where you may get a little bit of a tax advantage up front because it's paid with pre-tax money, but then on the back end, when you go to withdraw that money, you're paying more and more tax on it. And we could have a completely separate discussion on IRAs, and maybe I'll do a different video on that. And then looking at, once you've taken care of your 401k or 403b and you have your IRA taken care of, then looking at other investments, mutual funds and things like that, hooking yourself up with a good financial advisor who can guide you in investments that are going to be appropriate for the stage you are in life and the amount of risk tolerance that you have in investing money. So those are the basic things that you want to do. And that's an excellent way to be able to approach things. So start sketching those things out. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. God bless you. Go have an amazing day.